So click the NYU Sheet tab. Now click the cell G7. And then click the Formulas tab. Click the More Functions button in the function library. And then point to Statistical. Scroll down the list of the functions if necessary to choose the COUNTIF option. You want to count the number of times Pacific Odyssey appears in the tour columns. The formulas you use will say in effect, examine the range I specify, then count the numbers of cells in the range that contains Pacific Odyssey. So you will specify absolute addresses for the range so you can copy the formula. So now with the insertion point in the range text box, select the range A6 to A25. Then press F4, then press Tab, with the insertion point now appearing in the criteria text box. Then click F7, and then click OK. Your formula now is shown in the formula bar, and it asks Excel to search the range A6 to A25. And where it finds the value shown in cell F7, that is when it finds the value of Pacific Odyssey, add 1 to the total count. The number of Pacific Odyssey tours is 4 and it appears in cell G7. Now you want to calculate the total sales revenue for the Pacific Odyssey tours. Now click cell H7. Click Math and Trig button in the Functions library group. And then scroll down to the list of functions and then click SUMIF. The function argument dialog box opens. You want to enter two ranges and a criteria. The first range is the one where you want Excel to search for the criteria entered. The second range contains the corresponding cells in Excel will total when it finds the criterion you specify in the first range. So now, with the insertion point in the range text box, select the range A6 to A25. Then press F4. Then press Tab with the insertion point appearing in the criteria text box. Now click cell F7. Then press Tab with the insertion point in the sum range text box. Now select range B6 to B25. And then press F4 again, and then click OK. Your formula asks Excel to search the range A6 to A25, and where it finds the value shown in cell F7, that is when it finds the value of Pacific Odyssey, add the corresponding amounts to the column B. The revenue for the Pacific Odyssey tours now appears to be 4,503, and it appears in the cell H7. You want to calculate the average price paid for the Odyssey Pacific tours. And you will do that in the cell I7. So now click the cell I7. Click More Functions button in the Function Library group. And then click Statistical. And then Average If option. With the insertion point in the range text box, select range A6 to A25. And then press F4. Now press Tab with the insertion point appearing in the criteria text box, and then click F7. and press Tab with the insertion point now appearing in the average range text box. And now select the range at B6 to B25. And then press F4 again. Then click OK. So the average price paid for the Pacific Odyssey tours now appears to be 1,126, and it's appearing in the cell I4. So the cell I7 shows the average price paid. Now select the range G7 to I7 and drag the fill handle to fill the range G8 to I10. Compare your results with those shown here. Now add your name to the center of the footer, save your work, and then preview the sheet.